That's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the rebound.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Keeping It Real podcast presented by The Seeker, featuring me, Mateo, and my mother, Julia Lucio.
Hey.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I seem to be lagging, however, so
You do seem to be lagging a little bit. That's okay.
that does happen when I try to share my screen. So as long as this thing is up, it's going to be lagging, but it's okay.
It's okay. The voice is okay. That's what really matters.
Yep. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Slept in a decent amount today, but I'm back on track and I'm ready to film another great episode of the podcast.
And we have a lot of interesting things to discuss today.
We do. On the itinerary today, we have Mean Girls. We went to see Mean Girls. We might touch on our hyped movies of the year. We might do that in another week. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see how this episode goes. But we also have to talk about what came out, I think, yesterday or early today.
I think it was today. When I looked at it was like 4 hours ago. Like the news were kind of the scoop was released 4 hours or 5 hours ago.
And that is, of course, the Oscar nominations.
Yay!
We have all the nominations from the Oscars, which are set to happen in early March. Still a long time, but we have something from them until the actual show, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised by any of it?
I haven't even looked. Like, I know the Best Picture. I've skimmed through it, but there's some things I want to talk about later, like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse not getting a Best Picture nomination. I'm going to talk about that. I also want to talk about Godzilla -1 not getting Best Foreign Film nomination. We have some things to talk about later.
Cool. All right. So what do you want to start with?
I think we should start this episode with the recent movie we saw. What day did we see it? Saturday?
I think was it Friday? I thought it
Friday
was
or Saturday.
Friday.
And it is the film adaptation of an already existing film, but it's the film adaptation of the musical adaptation of that film, Mean Girls 2024.
Yeah, the film adaptation of the musical of the film. That's kind of crazy,
the book,
huh?
That Mean Girls is loosely based
of the
off.
book on top of that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, Mean Girls. What did you think about it? First impressions.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I thought there was some very, very strong highs and very, very low lows.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you for the most part. Like you said, directly after we watch it, it's rare that that happens with a movie. But like this iteration of Mean Girls, I guess, it was exactly that. Very high highs, very low lows. Parts I loved, parts I didn't like as much. Actors I loved, actors I think flopped in their roles.
Agreed. And what's really, really bad, and it's no, like, I don't want to like diss any actors. Like, we know they work very hard at their craft, but the main actress was not, for me, it was no Lindsay Lohan.
It's interesting because for you, the main issue with her, what I get is the acting. And for me, it's the singing. And it's a sentiment I've seen shared by a lot of people. Her singing was just not up to par with the musical. I'll talk a little bit more about the music later, more broadly, but her singing was just dull for the most part. And like, again, this is not coming from a place of malicious criticism. I'm a terrible singer, but I mean, like, I'm criticizing a movie and the lead singer in a musical was not a particularly standout singer. That was a big problem to me.
I agree 100%. Like, it's definitely like when you cast a a lead. Like, I mean, the movie relies on this role, and she was not a strong singer, and she was definitely not a strong actress at all. It, to me, anyways. Um, so it made the whole movie is like, I guess that's why there was so highs of highs, because I mean, if you look at Regina George, man, like stellar performance
I
from
disagree with that.
you do, but I don't like she like I think she was
Mm.
fantastic. Damien and
Oh, Damien was
uh
my favorite Damien in any of the Mean Girls depictions
and
ever.
we've seen the musical too, right? So
Yeah, we saw
we
the
kind of have
musical
something,
in Syracuse, right?
right?
So I guess we saw the national tour of it.
So we kind of have something to base it from. It's not like we never saw it before.
And
So
I've listened to the Broadway recording too. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
in all the Mean Girls adaptations I've seen, it's this movie is so interesting because like I said, I think Katie's the weakest Katie, but then like Damien is the strongest Damien in my opinion. Karen has a case to be the strongest Karen too. And
Yeah,
then like I don't like Regina as much
as the one we
or Gretchen, but like it's just such a wide array of the performances they bring.
yeah. See, I liked Regina. I was not so hot on Karen or Gretchen. Um, More Karen. I like Karen more than Gretchen. Gretchen was very weak to me. Um, and then Katie was like just not there. I liked one thing I really liked, but I would have loved to see more of is the winks to the original Mean Girls, such as Lindsay Lohan having a cameo, and I think she was like the mathlete moderator or something.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, but I was really disappointed not to see Amy Poehler as Mrs. George.
Well, I like that Tina Fey and I his name is escaping me, I think he's the principal. They
Yeah,
both reprised their roles.
yeah,
So that was nice.
yeah, yeah.
But
That was nice.
another thing I want to talk about is like I feel like the music took a huge step down from the musical. The original songs from the movie are like entirely all dull, and then what they did with the existing songs, they changed the instrumentals for a lot of them, and for almost all of them, it was a downgrade.
Hmm.
So I don't feel right giving a movie an amazing grade when it's taken from source material and makes it almost entirely worse.
Yeah, like for example, "Sexy" is like my favorite song of the whole musical, and it was so flat.
I liked Karen's performance, but they changed the instrumental a lot,
Hmm.
and for that reason, I would say it was flat. Like, I just don't feel right. You can't take a beloved pop culture piece that already exists, do a remake, make it worse in any way, and because it was a good pop culture piece, be like, "Oh, this is still a good movie," even though it's not hard work to make it a good movie. It's good source material, and then they didn't do anything to really improve it aside from some strong cast performances.
Hmm. So, what did you like the most about it?
Probably those cast performances that I said are strong. Um, Damien, Karen. I like Tina Fey as the teacher again.
She hasn't
And
aged a bit, by the way. Like she just looks the same.
I liked some of the choreography in the musical numbers, maybe more than the songs themselves. And then outside of that, like it was fun to watch. I enjoyed it, but as the days have gone on, it hasn't like if I see a really good movie, like I was thinking about Talk to Me for like a week after we saw it. Mean Girls, the
Mhm.
remake is already escaping my mind. So, out of 10, what would you give it?
Um, I guess I would give it a 4.
That's low. That's lower than I would give it. I think I gave it a 5 or 6. I'm more leaning 5 now. I struggle to call it a bad movie, and 4 would indicate that it's like if 5 is just a perfectly not good, not bad movie, then 4 would be bad. And I don't necessarily think it was bad. I think it was very flawed, but overall still an okay to maybe mildly good movie.
Yeah, see, to me, an okay movie would not be a 5. Like an okay movie is about like 4.
But like I'm just thinking about it from like a I guess mathematical standpoint. You have 0 and it's like gradually going up and 5 is the middle in between 0 being the worst possible a movie can be and 10 being the best it can possibly be. 5 means it didn't necessarily do anything good or anything bad. But I guess we just
Uh-huh.
have different grading criteria.
Yeah, I guess
Or
so.
let me rephrase that. Not necessarily that it didn't do anything good or anything bad, but in this case, it did a lot of good and a lot of bad, and it evens out in the middle to become exactly a 5.
I guess. It was pretty honest to the, original movie, which was probably very honest to the book. Like this is such a crazy thing, like a book that turned into a movie, that turned into a musical, that turned into a music
Yeah.
here, a movie about the musical. Like yeah, it's a pretty unique path.
I'm so confused with Society of the Snow. Did we talk about that at all?
I don't think we did. I don't
We,
remember if we
we can
have.
talk about that briefly too, which is currently my number one movie of the year, and I've seen 3 so far. So it's those two and Lift, the Kevin Hart heist movie,
Which I haven't seen.
which I don't necessarily think you should see. It's so dull. It's like a formulaic. They built that movie in a lab just to be like some straight to video Netflix original that people are going to see with their families and then never think about again. But with Society of the Snow and Mean Girls, I don't know what I was expecting in January of 2024, but I don't even necessarily know if it's been underwhelming because I have expectations about January movies. It just hasn't necessarily been the strongest start to the year.
No, it hasn't. But if we look back at January 2023, I don't think there was that much out.
We saw Megan
Yeah, it was pretty much it.
and like Skinamarink maybe.
Maybe. Was that even in January?
Might have been
Like,
February. I'm also thinking about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which I think was also February.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it should start ramping up like uh soon, hopefully. But I mean, I don't know. Last year was such a great year. It just had like, you know, movie after movie after movie coming out, and it was great, and they were good, and like it was, I think we were really spoiled last year. Like when I look at the upcoming movies on lists, I don't see anything that really kind of, oh, I gotta see this.
And not only was it movie after movie after movie, it was like pop culture phenomenon after
Yeah.
pop culture phenomenon. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Mario, huge animated movies. Then there was the whole
Turtles.
Barbenheimer thing,
Yeah.
like a
Ninja
huge pop
Turtles.
culture thing. Five Nights at Freddy's had like some cult following,
Which
super
was the
fun theaters.
craziest experience in a movie theater I've ever had. Like,
I don't
FNAF
necessarily know if
was
we're gonna
like,
get that this year.
I have never had it in like 52 years. So, good luck. I mean, this was
Yeah.
crazy. This was crazy. The theater was on fire. Like, I mean, the people were just going crazy with the YouTubers appearances, and like it was just wild. It was wild.
But speaking of these 2023 movies, do you want to get into the Oscar nominations?
We can. We can, but before we do, you want to talk about some movies you've seen this week? We did see May December finally.
We did finally see May December. When skimming through the Oscar nominations, I think I saw it was
One
nominated for
nomination.
Best Original Screenplay.
Yep. Hmm.
I thought it might have got love for Best Picture. I think it did at the Golden Globes. I don't remember. I know it got more nominations at the Golden Globes. But as I said to you after we watched it, it was a good movie, but probably my least favorite out of the Best Picture inner circle, I guess, that I've seen.
I'm just still wondering what the movie is all about. Like what the message is, what are they trying to convey other than we're inherently fucked up beings, you know? I,
I don't necessarily know if that's the message though. Like I said, I think a lot of it is on like character method acting and what that does to a person over an extended period of time. She's like the woman went to study this other woman who did very terrible things, and the entire time she's going with the mindset of needing to play the character, and she's being told from the entire family that she needs to understand that the mom isn't necessarily a bad person when in reality she probably is. And that just blurs the lines between good, bad, acting, reality. And I like how
yeah,
they
there's a
developed
whole
that through the
speech.
movie.
There's a whole speech about, where she does a whole spiel about reality and acting when you're acting sex scenes and it just, yeah, like how do you must be when you're acting, you must be at some point where you're so immersed into the character that you're playing, you probably, especially like if it's a deep character such as like Oppenheimer or like a real deep character, and complex character, you probably like the lines probably get blurred and you don't know what reality and what's not reality at some point.
So I think it was a strong movie, like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Not necessarily one of my favorite movies from 2023, but I understand why it's getting award love.
I'm surprised that there was no best actress or best actor or supporting even.
Supporting, like, as we were talking about with the strength of 2023, a lot of these categories are super stacked, but if there was one I would want to see, it's Charles Melton getting a Best Supporting Actor nomination. And I know that category is super stacked, but I really liked his performance.
Yeah, he was really really good at playing a man who's a child who's a man who's a child kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty good. But Natalie Portman was very good too.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I don't think as good. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like there's a lot of A-list actors who, in a lot of their roles, it's like it's a good performance, yeah, but I
Leo,
don't
case in point.
I don't necessarily see why they've become as big as they have. So
Hmm.
like I feel like looking back at my favorite performances of the year, it's usually not huge actors. Even probably my favorite performance of the year, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, he's a really big actor, but he's
He's
not like
not though. He's not though.
but
He's
he's like
he's
he's a
he's
name,
big, but he's big in secondary roles.
but
Like
he's not like Robert Downey Jr. or even Killian Murphy, who's
Mhm.
become a very big actor, or Emma Stone in Poor Things. That's one where like I think it's fully deserved.
I know. I
All
feel
of the
Paul
all of
Giamatti
the
has
big
always been
celebrity
overlooked.
cast,
What was
all
that?
the big celebrity cast in Poor Things deserves the hype they've got. But even in Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr. had a really good performance. I don't know if it's what I would give Best Supporting Actor.
Well, he did, but I think you put it so well in the article that will come out. You put it so well in how you the criteria you used is if the movie would have been the same with or without the actor. And I truly believe that anybody else could have played what Robert Downey Jr. played, and it would have been just as equally good. I don't think that he made the movie, you
Yeah.
know?
Whereas
Whereas Emma
or like
Stone
if we go
made the
to
movie.
supporting actors, Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe, I don't know how many people could have replicated that role.
Willem Dafoe 100%. Ruffalo, meh.
Yeah, I agree with I agree Willem Dafoe a little bit more,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't even think Ruffalo is to the extent of Robert Downey Jr.
Mhm. Yep.
But
So,
hey, all I'm saying, we've pretty much fully devolved into talks of the movies of the years and their award nominations. So let's get in
so
to the Oscar nominations, and I guess here we'll start with Best Picture. And these are the nominations, and this is a graphic released by Letterboxd showing the score out of 5 they all have. If you don't know what Letterboxd is, it's a movie reviewing site that is available to the public. So these are all um, the scores given by the public. It's an aggregate, it's an average score. Sometimes they're weighted too. So this isn't necessarily the mean, but the weighted average. And so these are the 10 movies that were nominated for Best Picture. In
wow, exciting.
descending order, we have Oppenheimer with an average score of 4.26, Poor Things at 4.25, The Holdovers at 4.24, Past Lives also at 4.24, Anatomy of a Fall at 4.18, Killers of the Flower Moon at 4.16, The Zone of Interest at 4.08, Barbie at 3.93, American Fiction at 3.8, and Maestro at 3.29.
That is so interesting. I wonder how it's going to reflect on, like how it's going to be different from the actual awards, but
So I was talking to you about Maestro whenever we were talking about the Golden Globe nominations, and I
uh-huh.
said at the time, this is a movie that, from what I understand, was designed to get love at award shows, but people just didn't like.
Mhm.
Another movie I think that was made like that, but kind of failed in that regard, was Napoleon, where it's like a relevant biopic about a historical figure with well-known actors and director, and it just didn't get the love. But I guess Maestro did get love in critic circles, even though people didn't like it.
Yeah, Napoleon flopped in that regards. Like they have, I think, one nomination,
I
and it's
think I
for
did see
set
one
design
nomination.
or costume design. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's just like a one thing. So flop.
yeah. But this is really interesting, especially the top four. They're separated by 0.02.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Past Lives and Holdovers are tied at third, and then Poor Things and Oppenheimer are both just 0.01 above third and then second.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I wanted to talk about upon seeing this is the fact that there is a movie on Letterboxd in 2023 that has a 4.6, one of the best, highest rated movies ever on Letterboxd that did not get nominated here. And that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Now, I know I get where you're coming from, but as I've said so many times, animation is not a genre, and even if it was, it doesn't matter. Like, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, let's not nominate Barbie because this is a family movie and we can't nominate those for best picture." An animated movie is a movie. Just because it has its own category doesn't mean anything. Like, I
yeah. I
I
guess
don't
it's like drama or horror or
I
like
don't even
just
know where the argument is coming from. It's been not like animated movies have been nominated for best picture before.
Very rarely, though.
Well, yeah, but if they have been, that means it's allowed. And according to most people and even critics, Across the Spider-Verse was good enough to get a nomination.
I agree with you. However, like it's not surprising to me one bit, and it's not therefore not a disappointment because I never expected. Like there's two genre that's been overlooked time and again with these awards, and it's horror and animated movies. Like horror is practically never, like I think the only horror movie that ever won anything was Silence of the Lambs. And it's more psychological thriller than a horror movie.
I feel like that's also the case with any horror movie that ever gets love, like Silence of the Lambs, American Psycho, Get Out. Any that get
Mhm.
love at award shows, it's like, yeah, it's horror, but it's like a psychological
It's
thriller.
right, it's
Talk
not
to Me
really.
to Us was good enough to be nominated here. I The average person doesn't necessarily agree. I think it's at like a 3.7,
Get out.
3.8. That's still really good. That's like better than Maestro and on par with American Fiction, but
Wow, I'm
it
surprised because
might
that was like to me one
like
of the best horror movies of all times.
I don't know if it's necessarily an award show thing or a general population thing where they just are not as receptive to horror movies.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, it's got like its niche. Like we're horror buffs, we always watch them, so But I guess like your dad, for example, just don't talk to him about any horror movies. That's just not something he's interested in. But I mean, to give it a grade, you have to have watched it, and so you wouldn't even be watching it if you didn't like the genre, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
So,
do you want to get into some of the other categories?
but first, I want to talk about American Fiction. I'm really, really curious. I really want to watch that movie. Like,
What's
I
it
think that's going to
what's the
be.
premise?
I'm not even sure, but it's an actor that I really, really like. So I wish I could, watch it.
Who's the
I hope I
actor?
can watch it. Jeffrey Wright.
Hmm.
Can't even like off the tip of my um mind, I can't even remember. He's been in big roles. Hold on, let me just look him up because you know him. Like he's been in so many movies. We've seen him in a lot of places.
Oh, he's doesn't he play Beatty?
Yes,
Yes, and he plays Commissioner Gordon in Batman. Or I don't think he's commissioner
he's in
yet.
Asteroid City. He's in so many movies. Batman, yeah, The Sandman, Westworld. Like I know him from Westworld. I used to watch that series, and I know him from that mainly. But I really like the actor. He's a very good actor, overlooked, and so it's nice to see him getting some love. But I got to watch a movie before the Oscars. Anyways, that's all I had to say about that.
Okay. If you could stop sharing my screen,
Hmm.
I will I have a list here from the Hollywood Reporter. This is my source, and it's every nomination for the Oscars. We already saw Best Picture, which had 10 nominations. Most of these will have 5. And next, let's go to Best Directing. We have Justine
Okay.
Triet with Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese with Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan with Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos with Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer with The Zone of Interest, which is another one that has gotten a lot of love that we have not seen.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but I can agree with all the other ones.
Yeah. Um, Again, like I feel like Scorsese might have got this nomination more on being Scorsese than the movie that was presented. I don't necessarily have gripes with it. It
Yeah,
just wouldn't be in my nomination. But like there's no surprises here.
yeah, there isn't.
So let's go to Best Actor in a Leading Role. Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, which I think when I was looking at Jeffrey Wright, it said he was also in that movie.
Okay.
So, and that's another one I kind of want to see. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Killian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Now, I've seen discourse about this. It seems like the two leading people who are most likely to get the award are Killian Murphy for Oppenheimer, obviously, and Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers.
Yay. That would be great.
And the consensus belief is that Killian Murphy is going to win it. But if Paul Giamatti wins it, I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah, me too. I find like I sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but I find Bradley Cooper so overrated. Like, I mean,
Okay, listen. He
so
was
overrated.
amazing in The Hangover.
Yeah, but it's like
And
I
he
don't
was
know.
amazing as Rocket Raccoon.
Okay, but that's different. It's not really
Yeah,
him.
it is. It is very
It's
different.
just
It takes
like,
talent to be
the
a voice
character
actor,
is
but
the Rocket Raccoon's got character.
yeah.
Bradley Cooper, well,
Best actress in a leading role. Now, I feel like I don't necessarily think actress and actors should be separate. I think, say, like, I mean, I have no problems with more people getting awards, but I don't necessarily agree they should be separate. Like, say you nominate 10 people instead and make sure at least 3 are men and at least 3 are women. That way you can give more credit to the best lead roles of the year,
yeah, but
regardless of
in
gender.
yeah, but then you have like 1 out of 10 chances of winning as opposed to 1 out of 5, like,
Yeah. But best actress in a leading role are Annette Bening for
which we haven't
Nyad,
seen either.
Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carrie Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Well, you know where my vote goes.
Yeah, so Lily Gladstone, I guess, was nominated for supporting in some awards and leading in others. She's nominated for a leading role here, and I would give her Best Supporting Actress, but against Emma Stone, that's
Yeah.
Emma Stone is where my nomination is going.
Yeah, that
Other than
that would
this,
be my
I haven't seen any of like 3 of these movies, but out of the movies I did see, I would have liked to see Margot Robbie get a nomination. I know like Barbie is kind of polarizing when people are talking about awards because it's like this is a show about this is a movie about toys. It's not that serious. But I really liked her performance.
and I'm sorry, I could debate that Barbie was very serious,
Yeah.
you know? It was light, but it was very serious.
And here we go to Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. We have seen 4 of the 5 of these movies.
Yep. I don't you're telling me that he's not nominated?
Who?
Um oh, Defoe?
Yeah, I can see it. He like Willem Dafoe's a person where if he did get nominated, yeah, that makes sense. But if he didn't, I'm not. That doesn't surprise me too much. Poor Things already has a nomination. I'm not surprised they didn't get 2.
I would have nominated Defoe over Ruffalo for the very reason we discussed before.
Out of
I
these, and this, like, I think I would give it to Ryan Gosling.
I kind of agree.
Wait, where? Why did you switch up?
Um, I guess, what do you call it? Proximity bias or like recency bias?
Yeah,
When we
maybe.
discussed it a week ago, we had just seen Poor Things, and I was kind of like still in the that kind of but yeah, I think Ryan Gosling did a fantastic job in Barbie, and So did Mark Ruffalo. If either of those win it, I'm not gonna be mad.
I'm not gonna be mad if Robert Downey Jr. or Robert De Niro win it either, though. I know you didn't stay for all of Killers of the Flower Moon, but De Niro had a really strong performance. And like
He always does. Like
again, we talk
then
about people who have name recognition. I don't think in this case it's something that carried him. I think he deserves the recognition he's got for this role. So
De
like
Niro is always fantastic when he
anyone who
whenever
wins best supporting actor, I'm either going to be okay with or I haven't seen American Fiction, so I can't be upset at that.
right.
Like, how am I going to say, oh, Sterling Brown doesn't deserve this if it's a movie I didn't see?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see it before the Oscars.
So next we have Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
I am so happy that America Ferrera got a nomination. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think this category got it mostly right. Like, so if they are going to say Lily Gladstone was in a lead role, then I don't have any issue with her not being here.
Mhm.
And then like Emily Blunt, strong performance in a very great movie. That's usually the formula to get in.
Mhm.
America Ferrera, strong performance in a really good movie. And Divine Joy Randolph, who would probably be my pick, very strong performance in my favorite movie of the year. Best writing for an adapted screenplay. So there's two categories here, adapted and original. It's self-explanatory. Adapted comes from, it could be like a biopic or based on true events or based on already existing media. And the categories for that are American Fiction, written by Cord Jefferson, Barbie, written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, Oppenheimer, written by Christopher Nolan, Poor Things by Tony McNamara, and The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer.
Again, like a whole bunch of strong performances. I couldn't be mad if any of those won. Like I don't know the Zone of Interest at all, but like
Like you just go down the list and it's the same movies, and it's because like if a movie is good, if a movie is really great, that's because it has great acting, great directing, great sound, etc., etc. So you see it in Best Picture, and odds are it's probably going to be in a bunch of other categories too.
for sure.
So let's go to Best Writing for an Original Screenplay, and here we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. And I
So
think
past
this was May December's only
only
nomination.
nomination. Yeah. Past Lives, did they get more nominations?
Past Lives was nominated for Best Picture.
Okay.
I don't know how many they got in terms of. I don't think we just went over it. I don't think they had any Best Actor or Actress or anything, but I think we might see them a few more times.
Uh-huh.
And again, so I can't disagree, even though I didn't like May December as much as some of the other movies that got a lot of love. I think the story and the writing were really good. It was a really good concept. Maybe not executed perfectly, but no complaints there. And then,
Uh-huh.
like, again, with the holdovers, every nomination I see just makes me happy. That movie deserves all the credit it's got.
I agree.
Okay. Next, we have Best Animated Feature: The Boy and the Heron, the Studio Ghibli movie directed by Hayao Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki. Then we have Elemental, the Pixar movie by Peter Son and Denise Ream. Nimona, which is a movie a lot of people probably have not seen, but I did see, which was a really good movie. Robot Dreams, which I did not see, and then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which would be my pick for best
Yeah.
animated movie.
Yeah.
How many is that the only animated movie you saw?
I think so.
So automatic pick for you, but I've seen quite a few, and Yeah, Across the Spider Verse is one where I would have it in Best Picture.
Elemental. Yeah, I think I've seen only that one. Yep.
So I guess we don't have much thoughts there. I do want to shout out Nimona because, like I said, it was not as big a release as some of these, and it was a really good movie. So shout out Nimona. And next category, best documentary. We don't have a lot to say here. We're not huge documentary people, but let's give these people their flowers. Bobi Wine, The People's President, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol. Mariupol.
I've heard about that one. I've heard
Okay.
that yeah. I don't know what it's about, but I've heard about it. So
Also, apologies to the viewer as the sun is starting to set. The glare in my room is getting. I look like a horror character.
you look really white.
Okay, next we got Best International Feature Film. So I'm really confused with Society of the Snow being here.
Why?
Is it not a 2024 movie?
Oh.
Let me get my fact checking on this.
I'm pretty sure it is a 2024 movie. It just came out in January. But I guess like the cutout is not like
Damn, I'm gonna have to remove that from my 2024 list.
it's
It
2023.
even started showing in theaters in America in late 2023, but it released at a film festival in Venice in September of 2023, I guess.
Oh wow.
Where what we're seeing is that it released on Netflix on the 4th of January this year. So,
Oh wow.
but so
Interesting.
we have Lo Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest.
And
Most of
I'm
these
pissed
we have
off.
not seen, and Godzilla Minus One did not get a nomination here, and it's not for some ineligibility reason, because it did get nominated on a different category we'll see later.
And it got nominated in other awards show.
Yeah.
Like I'm pissed off.
Best animated short film. Again, we haven't seen any of these, but let's give them their flowers. Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachyderm, War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. Best live action
Interesting.
short film. We are not short film people,
Nope.
so we don't have much to say about this either. The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Best documentary short film. The ABCs of Book Banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, Nai, and WIPO. Here we have Best Cinematography. El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. For me, this is a resounding two-way race between Oppenheimer and Poor Things.
Yeah.
And I would probably give the edge to Poor Things.
It was such a they created such a beautiful world. You know who I'm pissed off is not there?
Who?
The creator.
Another movie I didn't see.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset it's not there because it also did a fantastic job at creating a world that is like so surreal and yeah. Anyways, Poor Things would have my vote there.
Okay, next we got Best Costume Design. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This might be the first category where every single movie we saw.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, who would you give it to?
I think it would be between Barbie and Poor Things for me.
I think I would give it to Barbie. Now, obviously, Napoleon is not a movie that got a lot of love, but that's not necessarily a bad pick either. Ultimately, I would probably give it to
No.
Barbie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if Barbie got it. It was pretty original. and true to the, Barbie
Hmm.
stereotype.
Okay. Next up, we have best makeup and hairstyling: Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. Society of the Snow is not a bad pick here.
I was just gonna say, because do you know how hard it must be to make the skin look like it's been freezing for days?
Yeah.
Like
Out of these, that might be the best pick, although Poor Things is not a bad pick either.
Mhm. But yeah,
I
I
think I
would
would pick
agree with
Society of the
society.
Snow.
Me too.
Best original song, we have The
Oh,
Fire
there's a
Inside,
few.
Flamin' Hot nomination.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I have not thought about that movie in a long time. The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot, I'm Just Ken from Barbie, It Never Went Away from American Symphony, A Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon, and What Was I Made For from Barbie. And out of these, I would give it to I'm Just Ken. Just a
Yes.
super fun song. And I'm
I hope
happy it
like
became what it became.
they usually perform them at the award ceremony, so I can't wait to see it.
Best original score: American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. The Indiana
Uh,
Jones movie we didn't see, but like an Indiana Jones movie, I don't doubt it had an amazing score.
yeah.
But out of the ones we saw,
Oh, poor things.
we're on the same page. Poor Things.
Oh my god, like hello.
Oppenheimer was really good too. Oppenheimer was my pick for most of the year, but I saw
Yeah.
Poor Things and I was like, yeah, it's
Oh
Poor
yeah,
Things.
the score was just fantastic with that.
Best production design: Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Yeah, out of these, I would give it to Poor Things. That world is just so captivating.
It was.
Although, again, Barbie and Oppenheimer weren't bad picks either. I think Poor Things runs away with it.
Hmm.
Okay, on to Best Film Editing: Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Editing is kind of hard to gauge, but here I think I would give it to Oppenheimer.
You would?
Yeah,
I would probably go with the holdovers.
and that's fair too. Oh, the creator gets a nomination, I see.
Yeah, but for a lame fucking category.
Best Sound: The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. I've only seen one of these movies, and of all the movies I saw in 2023, it is by far, far and away my pick for Best Sound, which is why it's
Oh,
nominated here, and none of the other
it,
movies I've seen are.
yeah, and you know what? That's one thing that Oppenheimer did extremely well is the use of sound and no sound,
Oh,
which is
the
sound on
creator,
its own.
other.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Best visual effects: The Creator,
Okay.
Godzilla -1. And I'm mad this is like what is the Academy talking about? Like what are these you see, oh, this is a Godzilla movie. Godzilla is known for visual effects. That must be all it has to offer. Because this movie was so much more than that.
Oh,
But
yes.
then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon.
Well, I'm very happy that Guardians got something. And honestly, I would give it to that.
Yeah, that's probably the right pick.
Guardians
Godzilla
are,
-1 isn't a bad pick either.
but I mean, there's more in
What did you
Guardians.
think about The Creator, though?
Um, the creator is fantastic at the other category that we were looking at before. Like, what was it that I was researching?
Was it
I'm
best
blanking.
oh,
Production
production?
design.
Production
Like
design, yeah.
the world they create is awesome, and production design 100%. That would have been like, that could have been my pick. But I wouldn't say for visual effects.
Okay, I think we're pretty much done here. That is the last one.
Okay. Awesome. You know what we have to do? We need to make our predictions and post it on the secret.ca for people to see. And we'll see. Let's turn it into a contest and see how many we're going to get.
We will do that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dang, if you go from the start of this episode to now, you'll see like so clearly in my setup the sunset.
Okay.
Okay.
And why am I lagging so much?
Yeah, you have not been synced
There's,
at all.
I know, and there's nothing on the screen anymore, so I'm not even sure why this is happening.
Okay. What else is there to talk about?
Well, we got at 54 minutes.
We can end this episode with just quickly talking about like the other movies we saw. So we saw Crybaby, an old classic.
Speaking of
That
Willem Dafoe,
that's not even going to make sense. There are going to be Crybaby super fans that hear that and they're like, Willem Dafoe, he's there for one scene and he spanks Johnny Depp and leaves.
it's crazy, but oh my god, such a classic cult movie. I'm so glad that you guys humored me
It was like
and watched it.
it was like Gen Z humor almost because it was just so stupid. Like 30 years before Gen Z developed their humor. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. And I've seen a cute little um brainless movie this week too. I've watched movie with Julia Roberts and George Clooney called Ticket to Paradise, and it was fun. It was a light little fun movie.
When was that movie
Enjoyed
made?
it. I think it's 2023. It's a
Hmm.
2023 movie, and it was really funny because it's like a couple they've been divorced for years, and their daughter, who's just graduated from law school, decides to go on a trip before she starts working as a lawyer. She goes on a trip to Bali, and then she falls in love over there, figures out that all she needs is right there. She falls in love with a seaweed farmer, and
That's funny. That's funny.
and so they fly over there to try to stop her from making a huge mistake in marrying this guy, and it doesn't turn out the way they wanted, and it was pretty funny. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I feel like I should briefly talk about Lift too, because that's like one of the new releases. There's just not much to talk about. It's the same as like all the movies like this. It got released straight to Netflix, and it's just whatever. Like, Willem Dafoe's character in Poor Things?
Uh-huh.
I'm fully convinced he made a machine to just manufacture the most corporate, bland movies, and that's why this film was made.
So
Like,
it's that bad, huh?
it's not even necessarily that it's bad. I do think it is bad, but it's just like whatever.
Is it not enjoyable at all?
That's like there are a lot of bad movies that are enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is like it's so predictable and bland that this is like could be a broader discussion on what good and bad is. If
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy watching a terrible movie more than this movie that I don't necessarily think is made technically as bad, then this movie is worse. That's why I gave that Marvel movie, The Eternals, a half a star. That's like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it's a Marvel movie, so it isn't like all in a technical sense, everything about it's okay. It just has nothing to say, and I hate movies like that. So
Mhm.
like Lift, Kevin Hart, as I told you, I feel like gets roles because of his reputation rather than being a good actor. Someone I saw a Letterboxd review. It said this movie is just a bunch of character actors being told they can be the main characters of a movie.
Okay. Who
Like
else is in there?
I don't even fucking remember. Let me get a cast out.
It's
I don't think it
that
was major
memorable, huh?
names. I don't think it was major names outside of Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Ursula Corbero,
Mm,
Gugu Mbatha Raw, Sam Worthington, Billy Magnuson.
Nope. Don't know any of them.
Oh, the one other actor I knew was Jacob Batalon. Plays Ned in Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter's best
Okay.
friend. He was the
Okay.
one other actor that's like that I know from other roles. That's all I have to say about that
Interesting.
movie. It's
Well, I guess
definitely
I'm
like
not gonna
you
watch it.
guys can skip it.
Will do.
Oh, there
Okay.
is one more thing I wanted to. This is a tweet of the nomination count for the Oscars for every movie that I think got more than one.
Mm.
Or okay, they might be missing some here because remember the creator got two and it's not
Two.
here.
Yeah, they're missing. They're
It's
missing
interesting.
a few, but
So Past Lives might be the one that got the least of any Best Picture nomination because it got Best Picture and then it just got one other one.
uh-huh.
But like this is a convincing list of you could tell me that Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, maybe not Maestro, are like the top 5 movies that someone has, and it checks out. Like for all the shit we give the Oscars, most of these movies are deserving.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
And
agree.
I think where the problem comes in is there are movies that are deserving that don't get nominations rather than there being movies that don't deserve nominations that get them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more a problem with just this year having so many good movies.
Yeah, I agree. So okay. I know Naiad is available on Netflix, so I'm gonna watch that before the Oscars.
I still need to see Past Lives.
Past Lives and definitely Anatomy of a Fall. And I want to see American Fiction. I think I'm gonna try to find that.
Maestro's one I have no problem skipping.
Did American Fiction even get a release like in theaters? Like I don't remember seeing that at all.
Let me look it up. So it released at a film festival in September. Release. It had a limited theatrical release in America on December 15th, 2023. It might already be out for digital, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna check Cineplex and see if I can spend one of my numerous digital movies rentals on that. Shout out Cineplex. every time
Okay.
you get every time you get a combo number one, you get a free digital rental.
You should have known.
Yep. All
Shout out
right.
to number one though.
Yeah, no, it's the best combo.
Yeah, if we may get fans outside of Ontario eventually, but if you are a fan in the Cornwall area, or I guess in most of Ontario, this is
And
not an
Quebec.
ad, but Cineplex is just that has been our go-to theater for a long time. Even though Messina Movieplex is, I like Messina Movieplex a lot.
Well, free refills. It's kind of I don't know why Cineplex doesn't do that. Because really, like popcorn costs nothing to make.
Well, what I've heard is that like it doesn't, but they need the popcorn sales because they don't get a big
But they already sold
chunk
it.
of the ticket commission.
They already sold
But
it to
no,
you.
they
You already
sold
took the You already took number one. Why not
That doesn't make
give me a
sense.
free refill? Give me a
That's
free
just another
refill.
number one.
Well, no, I'm not asking for a free refill of the drink, just the popcorn.
What about the
And
candy?
people more than likely will not go back for a free refill.
It's
But
just an incentive to
corporate,
buy it. They got us hooked to those extra large popcorns at Messina Movieplex because we're like, oh, free
just
refill, but
because
we
of the
never do.
refill. And
Yeah.
exactly, get my drift. But for the one time that you might want a free refill, then you got it. Lord knows we pay enough for these things. Like, it's pricey enough. Anyways, that's my rant for today.
All right. Well,
Okay. Oh, look at you.
yeah, I'm pretty
Look
cool on now.
at you. I was gonna start mine because I got a remote too from my thing in the office, but oh well.
Okay, well, actually, this is getting annoying. Let me just stop here.
Okay, so I guess we'll see you next week. We're gonna try to discuss some more of the awards nominees. I'm gonna watch a few, and Mateo, hopefully you'll watch a few, and we can reconvene.
And hopefully, we'll see some new movies too that we can talk about.
Yep.
At least
All right.
one. It's
Okay,
been
that's
an
a plan.
honor talking to movies with you and to you guys. This is like our favorite thing, and
Yep.
look forward to us continuing to do this for a long time because I personally am not able to shut up about movies. So,
All right.
if I have a
So
reason to vent,
see you
then
next
I will.
week.
Yep. See you guys next week. If you're listening to this, give it a thumbs up or 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. If you want to see our reviews about movies, you can go to our letterbox. I'll put a link in the description, and go to the Seeker where you can see me write more movie reviews. Pick up a physical copy of the Seeker if you want to see it physically, and you can go to the website and see all my movie reviews and past music reviews from when I used to do that.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking